Hello, dears. In today's class, we'll be discussing the basics of how to prepare a case study. So, what is a case study? A case study is like a detailed story about a specific situation or a person. It explores the details, problems, and solutions to help others understand or learn from that particular example. So, this is what a case study is. And a successful case study analyzes a real life situation where existing problems need to be solved. It should relate the theory to a practical situation. And for example, you have to apply the ideas and knowledge discussed in the coursework to the practical situation at hand in the case study. So you'll have a theory and you'll have to apply it to a practical situation you have. And what should you do while preparing a case study? So the first thing is you have to identify the problem or the problems. You have to select the major problems in the case and suggest solutions to these major problems. You have to recommend the best solution to be implemented and also detail how this solution should be implemented in the case. So these are the things you'll have to take care of or you have to note while preparing a case study. And usually there are 8 sections in a case study. The first one is synopsis or the executive summary. The second one is findings. The third comes discussion, and then you'll have the conclusion. The next comes recommendations, and then comes implementation. And the seventh is references, and if any, you will provide appendices as the last one. So let's discuss each one of these. The first comes synopsis or the executive summary. So what is this? What is a synopsis? This outline or the purpose of the case study. So in synopsis, you provide an outline of the purpose of the case study. So what you are going to do in this case study, the purpose you will have to mention in the synopsis. And you have to describe the field of research you are going to perform. And you also have to outline the issues and findings of the case study without the specific details. You don't have to go into the specific detail, but rather you have to provide an outline. And you also have to identify the theory that will be used and note any assumptions made. That is, you may not have all the information you like, so some assumptions may be necessary, like it has been assumed that. You can give it in that way. And another example, assuming that it takes half an hour to read one document, so you are providing an assumption there. You have findings. In this, you have to identify you have to identify problems found in the case. And how do you do it? By analyzing the problem and supporting your findings with facts given in the case, the relevant theory and course concepts. So searching for underlying problems is the other one. So you have to analyze the problem and search for underlying problems too. And this section is often divided into subsections. So in findings, you can divide it into subsections. And next comes the discussion. In this, you have to summarize the major problem or problems. And then you have to identify the alternative solutions to this major problem or problem. So you'll have a solution and you can find alternative solutions. And in this, you have to briefly outline each alternative solution and evaluate its advantages and disadvantages too. So there is no need to refer to theory or coursework here. So in discussion section, you don't have to refer to the theory you are working on or the coursework mentioned in the case study. And a section in the fourth section, the conclusion, you have to sum up the main points from the findings and discussion. So whatever you have found from the finding section and discussion, you have to sum up the main points in the conclusion. And in recommendations, you choose which of the alternative solutions should be adopted. Earlier we found that in discussion you find alternative solutions, and from that you have to choose which alternative solutions you have to adopt. And you have to briefly justify your choice. So you might select a particular alternative solution and you have to justify why you have selected that and explaining how it will solve the major problem. and this should be written in a forceful style, as this section is intended to be persuasive. So this intends to be persuasion, so it has to be written in a forceful style. And here the integration of theory and coursework is appropriate. You can use the theory and coursework in this section, that is in recommendations. And now comes implementation, in which you have to explain what should be done by whom and by when. Okay, so what should be done, who should do it, and by when it should be done. This has to be explained in the implementation section. And if appropriate, you can include a rough estimate of cost, that is both financial estimate, financial cost, and time also you can include in implementation. And as a seventh one, you have references, and in this section you have to make sure that all references are cited correctly. While you prepare this case study, you might have used several references. You might have cited from several articles or different other works, so you have to cite all these works in the reference section. That is very much important, because we have already discussed this in plagiarism, the topic we discussed in last class. So you have to make the references correctly in the seventh section. And then the eighth one, we have appendices, if any. So attach any original data that relates to the study but which would have interrupted the flow of the main body. So whichever thing you is important to the case study but you were not able to include in the other parts of the study, you can include in the appendices section. So these are the main points or the main sections you include while writing a case study. So let's brief it once again. The first one, you have synopsis, that is the outline of the purpose of the study. Then you have findings, and then you have discussion, conclusion, recommendations, implementation, references, and finally appendices. So I hope this is clear. This is the basics of how to write a case study, just the basic facts. And please take note while hearing or listening to this video lecture. So I hope you have understood and come with doubts for the next class. Thank you.